Okay, hello guys. Good morning. It's quite morning in here in Indonesia, in Jogja, my town. Okay, and then in this, we will discuss about Kotlin as a modern language to build the services. Just like I think Lauren explained that Kotlin originally is like designed for general purpose language, and it mainly built for helping developing Java application better and more fun, something like that. But it does not getting more popularity in Android world. But it doesn't mean that original Kotlin is like only focus on Android. It also focus on other things also. Okay. A little bit about me. Basically, mostly work as a developer, also instructor, and then I also organize some community in here. I interested on Kotlin language, and right now I working on mostly on cloud native technology like Docker and then Kubernetes and etc. And yeah, right now I also manage Kotlin Indonesia and Cloud Native Indonesia community, especially in chapter in Jogja, in my town. Okay, a little bit about Kotlin. Maybe some of you not familiar, right? Kotlin is basically programming language. Yeah, right now I think everybody that working on Android development will touch Kotlin because if I'm not wrong, since 2009, right now, Android is Kotlin first, right? But uh, just like I explained earlier, Kotlin is actually general purpose language and with 100% Java compatibility. And also, Kotlin offers multi-platform. Multi-platform, it means like using single language, you can create application on GVM, Android, JavaScript, and native right now. I think Kotlin native is also able to write code targeted to iOS, but I never tried because I'm not really mobile developer myself. And if you working on the front end side using JavaScript, Kotlin also able to compile to JavaScript. Okay. Yep. Basically, Kotlin is just language because not really different with other language, right? And it's not really a new platform because mostly Kotlin is built on top of the existing platform like GVM, LLVM, and etc. And there's a lot of there's support in current ecosystem, especially in the Java ecosystem. Java ecosystem is quite big. There's a lot of tool over there, and then there's a lot of framework, and yeah, we can use Kotlin on top of that ecosystem. Also, especially in Indonesia, we have like 13 key member on our Facebook group, and then like 8 key on our Telegram group. If you from Indonesia, you can join us. Also, if you want to know about the whole Kotlin, there's a Slack group. Then it's more than 30,000 right now. I think first time I check is only 10,000, and last time I check is like blow up into 30,000. There's a lot of member, and there's a lot of developer on Kotlin right now. Okay. If you have experience on the other language, actually, Kotlin still using existing paradigm. It's not really like something very different. Maybe if you ever try Rust, Rust is like very good language, and then it offers a lot of a lot of concept, and it's quite hard to learn because there's a lot of difference, right? But in Kotlin itself, it's like still if you familiar with Java, you will able to write code in Kotlin in no time basically. Yeah, it's statically type. Uh, every variable need to have some kind of type defined in the first place, and then it's object-oriented and functional, right? Okay. Also, because 100% compatibility, we can mix our Java code and Kotlin code in a single project. This is some of application that build with Kotlin. And okay, we want to talk about Kotlin as a modern language. I define modern is like something like previously or before Kotlin, there's a lot of language, and for each language, it's like getting better and better, like adding some features and everything. And actually, Kotlin is like a new language that learn about all previous language like Java, C++, JavaScript, and others, and then build features that maybe fix some of the main problems, such as in Java, we usually get some headaches if we want if we want to handle the null pointer exception, something like that. So there is no safety in Kotlin, and also there is a mutability if we want to do some data processing, and we don't really want to modify the data, and then we want to make our processing able to be executed in multiprocessor way. Immutability should be one of things that we should try, and then it will help us a lot. And also, okay, we will talk about not everything, some of it a little bit, but we will deep dive more about coroutine. What is coroutine? This is a type of null safety in Kotlin. So basically, every type we need to define whether this variable is able to accept null or not. Okay. In this check is in compilation phase, right? So basically, if we write some wrong code, it will fail when we compile, not run the code. Okay, this one is also how to handling null, one line. Okay, this one is mutability. It means that be able to initialize or something. Actually, this is not really okay. This is not really like new feature or something. It's basically, it's just a compiler feature. So basically, one of the purpose of this kind of syntax is the consistency, right? It's mean that if we put some file over there and it means the variable is final. So the variable will, there will be no complexity over there, right? So it will, it will behave as we intended when we write in the first place. And there is an extension function. Okay. Yeah. Usually we write utility class, utility function, and extension function is basically that, but it can be embedded into existing type, something like that. Like swap. Swap is not really that belong to mutable list, but we just create a new one and then put over there, like okay. And then there is a data class. So basically, if we write in Java, there will be getter and setter. There's if you want, just need to put simple data, and we need to write like this. Okay, and then smart cache. If we write, this is one of the advantage if we want to write in a static type. We need to have some kind of we can do something like that. Even like we fetch some component, and then if the component is image view, right? There is a if the view is also image view, something like that. So it will be easier to us to write. Our code will be much easier to read also. Okay, talking about coroutine. Coroutine, I can say that coroutine is like one of the result of the evolution of problem solving. Why? Because in the beginning, when we want to write some code, we will need to take care of process and thread, right? What is process? What is thread? Process is basically our application is process. One process can create another sub process, and one process usually requires some resources, something like that, and then there's a thread. Usually, thread one application, you know, need to manage a lot of thread, something like that, and then yeah. And then this is example of process builder in Kotlin, right? So basically, just like execute a command, basically like execute a new application, execute new process from the application, and then if we want to create a thread, we can write something like this, right? So we put our code and then we wrap it into some kind of abstraction over here, and then we execute. And up to here is quite easy to create multi-thread application. But the problem happens if we want to, like, how about if we create too many threads? How about if we like want to share data from one thread to another, right? After thread, there will be thread pools, right? So basically, there's some issue, and then this is the evolution. There will be like thread pool. So basically, why we need to create thread pool if we want to work with multi-thread application. We don't want to like exhaust our resources by creating a lot of thread uncontrollably, right? And if we use thread pool, this pool will manage our thread. So we can set a limit or something. So the thread count will not be blown up and then make our application crash, right? Okay, this is how we create a basically thread pool in Kotlin. Okay, and up here actually it's quite it's quite it's not really complex, but it's quite easier to manage multi-thread application. But there will be modern solution also, because when we want to create application that manage a lot of processor, right? Because right now most of our computing power, like PC or maybe our servers, is not single core processor. It will be like multiple core processor, right? So there will be modern solution, because manage thread manually using thread pool or using plain thread is quite hard. And then there is future and promise, right? This is the example. So basically, what we able to do is like it's kind of like a stream, right? So we have data, and we have processing the data, and if there is an issue, like there is an exception, what we will do, what we want to return as a result, and everything, and then after the data is collected, what we want to basically what we want to do with that data. Do we need to modify it, on do we need to processing, or do we need to send it to some network or something? We can do that over here. And this feature and promise is little bit similar, but I think the syntax will be different. This code is using Covenant library if you want to explore more. Okay, and then there is a reactive egg, right? And then RX Java. A reactive egg is not only in Java, but also available in JavaScript and other languages also. So basically, it pretty similar with this, but using more using more function like flat map filter. Basically, it's like a set of functionality that we can do in set of data. So basically, it's like we have context and what we want to do with that list of context, right? But the problem is writing. Okay, I think the problem is writing like promise and maybe like future and something. Create another problems. One of it is like nested type, right? In this case, we will need to like wrap the data list of string and then wrap the exception and then wrap it also in a promise type, something like this. So also if we see this, it mostly using callback. Callback is like we create an anonymous function inside our function. So function, we're calling function. And then if our application is getting complex, there will be callback inside callback inside callback. And it usually called callback hell, right? And then coroutine came. Coroutine is basically similar. The the basic idea of coroutine is similar, but coroutine using compiler to eliminate all of the complexity like this, right? If we see, it's basically we will create a suspending function, and then we do something, and then everything will be written like blocking code like this, right? So if we have some list of data and we want to do something, right? We can use like regular loops. The difference with regular loop, this submit post will executed parallelly, right? Asynchronously and parallelly using multi-core processor. And the regular exception handling is like as usual, not using something like this, right? There will be callback, especially callback specifically for exception handling. Exception handling, we can just use like try catch as code as usual. So basically everything is like blocking code. Okay. So Kotlin with coroutine, this is one of I think this is one of feature that I personally like, because after I have experience writing code in manual thread using RX, and this is much better. Okay, if you want to know more about coroutine, there's a lot of things that we can learn, and there's a lot of features that we can use also. So basically, Kotlin is combination of language and library, and mostly compiler will do the job. So the language only the Kotlin language only has suspend function, and everything will be inside of suspension. Everything will be converted to state machine, right, by compiler, and then everything else is basically in the library. So our core application will not be like bloated, like there's a lot of new code or something using Kotlin because it's just like we add a new library in our application. Yeah, this is some blocking thread, and then we using callback the advance. Okay, I think my time is almost up, but this is the last thing. Okay, after we talk about SMR, how about if we write something in Kotlin for REST services? Right? There's a lot of option to write. So basically, all of the framework to build RESTful application in Java, we can use that. And also those framework, those tools, right now, they also support Kotlin first, like not Kotlin first, but their code, their framework will be now we've written and in like Kotlin friendly or something, right? Except this one, yeah, Ktor. Ktor is pure Kotlin. So I just want to show you some code if we want to use Kotlin as a RESTful API. Okay, we will use this one. This library is using. Maybe I'm wrong, but I usually call it Ktor. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong because I don't know about the how to spell it. Ktor is lightweight, different with Spring Boot. If you use Spring Boot is like full-blown framework. And this is asynchronous, mostly using coroutine to manage the multi-thread and it developed by JetBrains and 100% Kotlin. So this is the code. This code is available in my GitHub. You can put you can fetch that by yourself actually. Okay, so yeah. I think this one is there's several version in my GitHub. This one is the latest version. I mean, there's an example code that's so simple. I think this one. Yep. This is the simplest one. Okay, good. Yep. This is the simplest. Yeah. Only this. We just need to doing something like this, and this is we just create a simple REST application using Kotlin. Okay, just little bit something like this. So the server is also embedded when we compile this into one single jar file. We can just run the application. Okay, and all of this code is on my GitHub. You can fetch the code. Okay, I think my time is up, Lauren.
Yes, I am right here. Thank you so much. We actually have one question. This one is from David. Let's just do this very quickly before we move on to our next speaker. The question is, can we convert Java language programming to Kotlin language programming? How does it work?
From Java to Kotlin, if you use to convert, if you use IntelliJ IDEA, the IDE, the community version is okay. You just can right-click your Java code and then convert to Kotlin. It will be automatically converted to Kotlin. But I'm not really suggesting that because Java and Kotlin will have a little bit different in style. I suggest you if you rewrite your code in Kotlin way instead of in Java way, something like that.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that. And a big shout out to David for that question. Thank you. If you guys have any more, just leave them in the Q&A box, and Danny will answer them once he has gone offline. Danny, we'd like to wrap things up right now. Thank you so much for being a part of WebFest Asia 2020. I hope you have a good day today and stay safe wherever you are.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, feel free to stay on and hang out with us here for the rest of the day. Bye, Danny.
Bye.
Exabytes. grow your business online.